Born in 1961 to a modest family in California, Steve Purcell took a quick inspiration towards drawing, having been cited as still owning some of his early pictures he drew when he was only 3 years old. He wasn't the only artistic mind in the house, however, as his younger brother Dave Purcell was also drawing every now and then, of which the most important were a series of comics detailing the adventures of an Irish wolfhound and a rabbit. Dave would often leave these creations unfinished around the house, and as a way to mess with his brother, Steve would purposefully finish them, turning them into mocking parodies of themselves. This continued for quite a while until in the late 70s, Dave officially signed a contract giving the rights to these characters to Steve. Little did Dave or Steve know that day, these two characters would eventually become the Sam and Max we know today. Purcell would pursue an arts degree around the same time, eventually becoming a comic strip artist for the California College of Arts while studying there. These would serve as the first official appearances of the two. After he graduated in '82, he took on some freelance work like doing some cover arts for Marvel Comics, before he eventually landed on doing some pencil work for Fish Police, which was running in Comico at the time. The creator of the comic, Steven Moncouse, wanted an accompanying comic book to his own, and asked Steve if he was willing to try his hands at a full comic series. He agreed, and proceeded to write his first full-length Sam and Max stories, being Monkeys Violating the Heavenly Temple and Night of the Gilded Heron Shark. He would also write a third story for Critters magazine, and all three would see a release in around 1987. Besides the three mainline stories, Steve would also draw smaller strips during his time at Lucasfilm Games, better known as LucasArts these days, which were so well received by the other staff, they eventually decided to make a full game based on the duo, although we'll talk about that in a later episode. Purcell would eventually release all of his published Sam and Max comics under one book in 1995, titled as Sam and Max, Surfing the Highway. This book, while receiving an anniversary reprint in 2008, is sadly quite rare these days, as the book was in print for only 2 years. Join me next time as I'll talk about the quite odd cartoon series these two would receive in the late 90s. See you around.
I was in comics? How embarrassing.